Hey everyone, welcome back. It's so nice to have you join us today, and I'm so grateful to have you listening in again. So, today I'm really excited. I mentioned it on my last video or my last blog that there's a lot of fears that I have about working towards my retirement and actually not being a burden on my children, as well as just being able to buy a house and actually plant roots here in New Zealand. And to figure that out, I've got a guest today, which is Ivandee Fitchet from Migrant Financial Services. So she's agreed that she's going to use me as a little bit of a guinea pig, which we'll get into later. But she's going to help work out how we can actually buy a home here as immigrants and how we can retire and not be a burden on our children. So yeah, I'm really excited to have some time with Ivandee. So Ivandee, I'm going to hand over to you. Maybe I'll start. You can introduce yourself, and then we'll get into it.
Okay, thanks, Brett. Ivandee Fitchet, originally from Cape Town. I have been in New Zealand for 7 years.
Yeah.
Been in financial services since 2008, sorry, so
Yeah.
it's been quite a while. And yes, I am the owner and director of Migrant Financial Services, which is a company designed to help immigrants in particular with that financial transition from their home country to New Zealand.
Awesome. Thanks, Ivandee.
Yeah.
Ivandee, so maybe what I want to start off with is before we get into all the financial side and all the rest of it, why did you even want to leave South Africa? Why did you move to New Zealand?
Yeah, it was definitely not an easy decision,
Yeah.
especially coming from Cape Town. I think we were quite fortunate living in a city like that
Yeah.
that typically runs better than most other
Yeah.
parts of South Africa. I had an amazing job. I was a financial director for an investment company dealing with pension and provident
Yeah.
funds. Really had an incredible boss. I was with him for 10 years. Um, I think at that time, being 2018, I had a lot of friends immigrating at the time.
Yeah.
There was quite a bit of movement. I wouldn't say it was particularly the crime because obviously there was crime in
Yeah.
Cape Town, but nowhere near the effects of the rest, the likes of Joburg
Yeah.
or Durban for that matter. But then those cogs start turning.
Yeah.
What is your safety like as far as your work environment is
Mm-hmm.
concerned? What is your future like in the country? You've got a cushy job now as senior management, but where is the country going in a couple of years?
Yeah.
And then I actually met someone at the time who was from Cape Town, but he had lived here for 10
Yeah.
years. And that really sparked the whole thing starting, and I just kind of started looking into it. And the more I was looking into it, the more I saw how many of my school friends had actually immigrated
Yeah.
to New Zealand as well. And I thought, if I don't jump now, I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
And my God, am I grateful I did at the time. Obviously, COVID happened so soon after
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and I've seen how difficult it is to get into the country. So, firm believer in, things happen for a reason, I think.
Yeah.
And to be very honest, I don't know if my job would have still been secure had I stayed back in South
Yeah.
Africa. And because I look after my parents financially, that was also a huge thing. Like your own financial security
Yeah.
needs to be sustainable in order to support them as well. And I think a lot of people, a lot of immigrants are in that position too,
Yeah.
having to look after their folks
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was a couple of things. It definitely wasn't a situation where I had to leave.
Yeah.
Just trying to think ahead of where my financial security was going to be, especially with things like
Yeah.
retirement. Yeah,
Yeah. Thanks.
in a nutshell.
Oh, geez, you've touched on a couple of things that it really resonates with me as well. So one of the big things for me was, yeah, you're right. Crime is a big thing. Everybody talks about South Africa,
Yeah.
especially South Africans, and how bad
Yes.
it is, and the crime is. But if you talk to a lot of South Africans that have actually moved, a lot of
Yeah.
them genuinely turn around and say, well, it's actually bigger than that. It's not just the crime that
Yeah.
drove us away, or got
Yeah.
us to finally make that decision and move. And I think you
Yeah.
touched on one that's a biggie for me was I was so worried about getting into my mid 40s, close to 50, and still being able to be in corporate and be able to
Yeah.
retain a job. And that
Yeah.
meant, would I be able to provide for the family and actually,
Hmm.
keep a roof over our heads? And
Yeah.
that worried me a lot. And I know there's a lot
Yeah.
of South Africans that maybe they could start up their own companies and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a way they could still make it work. But I wasn't in
Yeah.
that position. I was working in corporate, and that was a big
Yeah.
worry for me. So definitely I relate on that one. And so, yeah, you're 100% right on that one.
And pensions, right?
Yeah.
And I think because I worked with it every day, dealing with pension and provident funds, I remember being at a conference with Alexander Forbes, and I was 33 at the time.
Yeah.
And they said they brought up a graph where you could see age, salary, and having to retire at
Yeah.
65, how much you had to put away of
Yeah.
your salary. At the age of 33, it had to be 35% of my income
Sure.
to get 70% of my income at retirement.
Oh, wow.
And that's only at that age. Obviously, it goes up
Yeah,
the
yeah,
older
yeah,
you
yeah.
are.
The longer you leave it, yeah.
So how is that sustainable?
Yeah.
And you see so many people that retire in South Africa and they don't make it.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't live off SASSA. There's no ways. You can't cancel Discovery and the rest of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all know what the state hospitals are like. And that was really such an eye-opener for me. I was like, at what point do you have to work yourself to the bone to be able to live
Yeah.
at retirement? And remember, South Africa, you have to stop working at 65. It's not like here where you've got the luxury of carrying on and consulting or doing odd jobs and topping up your pension.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was a real eye-opener for me.
Oh, geez, you just even making me think, just chatting to you now. You were talking about, retirement and all the rest of it. So yes, but it also made me think about parents. You're saying a lot of us look after our parents. So my wife and I, as you know, we were looking after my mother-in-law, and even now, being in New Zealand, we still send money home. We still, support, but from the other side of the world as best that we can. And it just, I can just see how it's been so difficult for her and so challenging with her retirement and having enough money. And you nailed it with the medical aid as an example. She just can't be without private medical.
No.
It's not like here, and I know a lot of the Kiwis complain about the public medical here in New Zealand, but compared to public medical in South Africa, I mean,
100%.
you can't even compare. You go to
No.
hospital in South Africa, I don't think you're going to live, I think your life is done. You really need
your survival rates is lower.
For sure. So you definitely
Absolutely.
need to have private medical. So it just shows how important.
Yeah.
You have said something else, but I know we'll probably get into it, maybe not today, but maybe in one of our next episodes, is you were talking around, how difficult it was or is in South Africa to make sure you're putting enough money aside to be able to actually retire by age 65.
Yeah.
So now that made me already start thinking, just talking to you, and I'm thinking, oh, geez, is it any easier here? I know how everybody tells, and we all talk about it, the economy here, it's tough, and living here is so tough. So I'm thinking, geez, is it going to be any different in New Zealand, or have I jumped from one side of the world to the other side of the world? So all the more reason I need this help from you, and I'm so excited to work through this, not only to help myself, but so that we can help a lot of other people out there as well. So learning from us. So it's going to be really exciting. Before we get into more of that, I really want to get to know a little bit better. And I know I briefly touched on it. You explained how you moved here in 2008 and it was just for COVID. Tell us a little bit about your journey. I mean, everybody has a story. Every immigrant you talk to will tell you about their challenges, what they found difficult, and just talking through their journey. I can tell you our first year generally, and maybe for most immigrants, it's like a blur. You're just in survival mode in that first year. And I think it takes a good few years before you can breathe and actually start feeling okay. So tell us your journey. I'd love to know, from 2008, tell us about getting here. What worked? What didn't? Did you make mistakes? What did you learn?
So I obviously did try and look for jobs from South Africa, being an FD, and I think a lot of us fall into that trap, right? We have these titles back home, and it gives us this overconfidence that we're not going to battle to find a job here. It's going to be easy. And I actually didn't have the tools or the support in that respect, where people could have that hard conversation with me. It is not that easy to get a job here, and especially in finance. So I had a couple of interviews lined up, and then I decided to come to New Zealand on a visitor visa. I did actually resign from my job. That's how confident I was. But I didn't get rid of my house or my car. So something in the back of my head was saying, still just as a backup plan B. And there's not a company in South Africa that's going to let you take off a couple of months to do a job search. So winged it, got a visitor visa, came over. Thank goodness I had friends here that took me in, and I stayed with them while I was doing the whole job search thing. And man, what an eye-opener. It was nowhere near what I envisioned or expected. Took me 4 months to get a job. actually got a job in a coffee shop.
Oh, wow.
None of the recruiters would look at me, and that was just from networking, which I have
Oh, wow.
since discovered it is really a thing here in New Zealand. Networking. This
Yep.
country is so
Yep.
small; it really does carry you very far.
Oh, you've nailed it there.
So, got a job at a kind of a reverse mortgage company, and I was doing accounts for Macquarie Bank, which is an Australian-based bank.
Yeah.
Everything on Excel. It was interesting, coming from such a high directorship job to basically doing bookkeeping
Oh, wow.
on Excel, which it blew my mind because I never thought a bank would
Hold
actually
on,
do.
Ivandee. Hold on.
Yeah.
You told me you first got here 4 months and you started working in a coffee shop. Sorry, I haven't even got past
No.
that.
I got the job for the Macquarie Bank in a coffee shop,
Oh,
just from a
okay.
networking.
I thought you said you came from a financial director and you were working in a coffee shop. I thought, wow, you really had a tough start. Okay. That's making a bit more sense.
So, and the salary was so bad, also not what I was expecting. Obviously being an FD, I was kind of expecting that 120 mark. I think most executives from South Africa kind of have that number when they get you. And my first salary was 54,000.
Oh,
yeah.
Ouch.
So, and it was such a blow financially, especially because I still had property in SA, my car was still there, and it's not a sustainable salary, even though I'm here alone. It's just not a sustainable salary in Auckland. But you know, everyone says take what you get and go with
2008. So we're in 2025.
2018.
2018. Sorry. Okay. Oh, you started off in 2008. So even 2018, and now we're in 2025. That's a good few years later, and even then, I mean, oh, geez, I can only imagine how tough that must have been.
It was humbling. It was really, really humbling. I did work my way up pretty quickly in the firm, but it was still pretty south of 100,000. I'm very grateful for the opportunity in that, and I was like, I can't. It's just not sustainable to live on that income, and then especially still supporting my folks, right? So you have this responsibility. And I was like, I have to do something here. The only way I'm going to be able to cement myself in the financial industry here is to study. And that's what I did. I studied.
How did you keep it right in your mind? Because I know it's one thing financially, and we talk numbers. Yeah, you're talking about 55,000 and how that is, it's just not sustainable. It's not enough. You know, I've done a separate tutorial on how much I believe is the bare minimum just to survive, never mind thrive. And it's more than double. It's almost double the 55. You know? But I'm just thinking mindset. You've just said you've come from a very good position. You were a financial director. You've come across to this side. How did you stay motivated? How did you just not give up and think, crap, what the hell have I done?
Yeah, it was, so I went back while I was waiting for my work visa. I did go back to Cape Town. I wasn't there long. Because I'd actually lost my partner in the first month I came to New Zealand. So got the job, went back to Cape Town while I was waiting for the work visa to process. And it was the strangest thing. And I've heard this from other friends that have gone back really soon after landing. New Zealand is so picturesque, right? Yes, the money's bad, but that feeling of safety, you cannot put a price tag on that. And even though it was such a short time after getting here and I went back, it was the strangest thing. The minute I got back to South Africa, all I could think about was coming back here. And I was like, I have to make this work. I really have to make this work. And I think we also forget, we didn't walk into our senior jobs in South Africa. We worked our way up. And I think it definitely took us longer to do it back home than for most of us here. And I was like, no, I have to come back. I have to make this work. And I did. I got a promotion within 6 months after starting the job. And then once I'd studied, that really opened up quite a lot of doors for me. And the finances do follow. I think people it's human nature to feel negative when you start off on those low salaries. But it's also up to you to climb the ladder, earn your stripes, and make yourself and make your mark in New Zealand, right? So
Geez.
I had to make this work. And then I also I was really positive to wanting to bring my parents here as well.
Okay. Just so much of what you've said, I'm just thinking, I mean, even just your journey, and I'm sorry, you did mention you lost your partner as well in the first month, and I can only imagine how much and how difficult that must have been just in itself, but then also going back and then realizing that a big reason for being here is that sense of, I don't know, is freedom the right word? Is it just that sense of not being worried and on
Yeah.
alert all the time? So
Yeah.
that's something that
Yeah.
I know I've even spoken to my wife about so often, and I
Yeah.
don't know if it's more so because you're a woman or not, but I just
Yeah.
know that as the husband or man of the
Yes.
home, one of the biggest things for me was just being able to know that when Amy goes out with the kids or whatever else back in South
Yeah.
Africa, I used to worry if they used to go out
Yeah.
without me. Like you wanted to be around with them all the time, because you
Yeah.
were worried something could happen. They could get hijacked. There's so many different things that
Absolutely.
could happen. Whereas
Yeah.
one of the biggest reliefs, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulders, was
Yeah.
just being able, she could go out by herself. They could go for a
Yeah.
walk down the road. They could go riding bicycles around. They could just
Yeah.
be free. So
Yeah.
I really hear you on that one point. And maybe
Yeah.
it's a good reminder going back so quickly and realize, no, actually, I've got to
Yeah.
make this work.
You've done the right
You've
thing.
done the right
Yeah.
thing, which is really, really
Yeah.
cool. Okay. So you've gone back, you've decided to make it work. You want to make it work because you want to obviously get your parents and everything across here now. I know
Yeah.
we're sitting a couple of years down the line. So you've been here from 2018. We've gone through COVID. I mean,
Yeah.
geez, I don't know. I can only imagine what it was like going through COVID.
Terrible.
That must have been very
It was
interesting.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at least maybe by then you had been in a little bit of a better financial position, because you said you were working
Yeah.
hard. Within 6 months you'd already been promoted, so you're starting
Yeah.
to work through the ranks in the corporate that you're in. And I think that's a good
Yeah.
thing about South Africans. At least they do see us as hard workers, and I think we are
Yeah.
driven, and we got a bit of grit. We've
Yeah.
had to build that grit from the country we come from.
Yeah.
I think that maybe is something that's helped us so that we can
Yeah.
push on through. So talk me through a little bit further, working through COVID, working your career, working through the ranks. You've said in 6 months you've been promoted. What positions? How did you move up? Just talk me through it a little bit so we can understand your journey here.
So I was promoted to team lead within 6 months and kind of stayed in that role. Fortunately, because we were financial services, we were seen as essential services during our lockdown.
Okay.
And then I had an financial aggregator approach me because he actually wanted me to come and work for him. But one of the requirements was to study. So he kind of sparked that. He actually paid for my studies at the time. So I think the timing was good because it was COVID.
Okay.
I think people forget we were in lockdown for basically 3
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Finished my studies really fast, and then he wasn't in a position to actually give me a job because of COVID and financial restraints with the companies. I was sitting with the qualifications, but once things started opening up, career started moving a bit as well.
I'm going to ask a question. Sorry, and it might be maybe it's just me being silly. You said financial aggregator. What is that?
Yes.
I don't even know what that is. And I'm thinking, well, okay, nice guy, paid for your studies, which is cool, and it gave you something to do like while we were in lockdown, so it would definitely put you in the right footing moving forward. But just to expand on that for some others trying to work out what that is.
Because we give financial advice, our work has to be compliant and monitored.
Yeah.
So they basically the umbrella that we fall under for our licenses to be able to give financial advice, mainly on the mortgage side.
Yeah.
But it did actually start with mortgage advice. That was the first. I did New Zealand Financial Services, then the mortgage, and then later came insurance and KiwiSaver.
Okay.
But yeah, he wasn't able to offer me a job, but that was fine. I was really grateful for the studies behind me.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was also because we were still on the old point system. So it actually did work to my advantage. It kind of shows immigration that your intent is good to stay in the country and actually give back to the economy here. So, but yes, eventually did move from the banking side of things into the financial advice side of things.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant, Ivandee. That's really, really cool. Now, I maybe want to ask and move it on. So, you've obviously been working in the financial sector a while. You've told us how it was challenging coming across here, but how you've been able to, even working through COVID and whatever else, but you've been able to study and grow. And I'm just trying to understand, so how did Migrant Financial Services come about? When did that start, I
think because I've been in finance so long, and I was very grateful. Like I said, I had friends here that helped me. But the more you interact with other South Africans and friends, etc., you notice there's always a gap with people's journey, especially on the financial side. Like they might meet an insurance person here. but then that's just the insurance component.
Yeah.
Most don't even know you're not allowed to join KiwiSaver, for instance, if you're not a resident. Like, there were all these gaps in that ties us visa versus products in the country, right? So, and I was looking at this model and I just thought, but it really is a journey, your finances as well. The work and the work visas is one component, but your life doesn't stop around it. So I thought it's really important to offer clients full service financial advice, starting with the very basic thing of a budget.
Yeah.
And I try and talk to clients before they even leave South Africa to give them a really good idea. It's not to put them off, it's to prepare them.
Yeah.
What's awaiting for you? What startup money are you going to need? And then once you're here, this is what you can tackle on a work visa, and we'll wait for you to get residency, and then we can follow through with the other things. And it was the idea of it was for clients to have a one-stop shop, for a lack of a better phrase. And you've got one person to deal with, and you're on the journey with them from the very start when you do their first budget all the way through to retirement planning.
Okay. Well, you've touched on something now, just saying from one-stop shop, beginning to end. But you also touched on, you said that you would meet with a person like this online in their home country before they even leave. I know you mentioned South Africans. I assume it could be any immigrant that
any country,
anybody coming to New Zealand that really is, on that journey and about to start and make this home. You would want to meet with them and start at the very beginning, going through budgets, etc., and taking them along the journey, right?
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
So maybe with that point, I know what we're going to be doing in our next couple of episodes is I've put up my hand, and I must tell you I'm a little nervous to do it because I'm worried, geez, how exposed am I going to make myself here? But I'm going to be the guinea pig, and we're going to do a couple of episodes now, be it 1, 2, we'll see where it leads. But we're going to use me as the example. And we're going to say, okay, let's play the scenario out and say that Brett is back in his home country, be it South Africa, America, wherever else in the world. And we're about to immigrate to New Zealand. And you're going to take me through that process, but we're going to record all of that and try and help share with people out there so that they can learn from this and hopefully make that easier. So starting with that, what is the first thing you would tell somebody if we had to meet for the first time as a potential client? What do I need to be prepared for? What do I need to do? So almost talking into, we're going to do the next episode. You met me for the first time. We've had that virtual coffee. Awesome. What do I need to do? Where do I start? What are we going to talk about? What can I expect in our next meeting, for example? So I know what to do.
So look, I mean, there's obviously a few factors, but I would think the majority of people that are coming over have children, right? And that the age of the kids obviously also do matter, but we'll start with a simple scenario, 2 small kiddies. The hardest conversation initially is always the fact that there's only going to be one income initially. But I break up the budget where we can show you, okay, this, and I work on North Island prices as well. Just to be, rather safe than sorry, because Auckland's more expensive than South, for instance.
But let's explain that to the audience as well, especially new people that are thinking about coming to New Zealand. When we're talking North and South Island, so hopefully they know they're coming to a country that is a North and South Island. But now you know. But what you also want to know about North is generally more expensive, right? And South is cheaper. So even although Ivandee's going to work through going through North Island, and I am on North Island, so it makes sense as a potential customer, actually starting from the beginning. You just know if you can make it on the North Island and the finances, you're going to be good on the South Island. Okay, cool. Okay, and
rather over budgets than under budgets.
100%. So okay, so we're going to start off, and you're going to take me through my budgets, and as you said, the biggest thing, and I can tell you, in our first year, living off that one salary is tough. So it's not easy. And we have 2 kiddies, now 3. So makes sense. So So what do I need to be prepared with for our next one? I need to have my budget ready, or my current budget? Because what do I need to have?
We'll work on a hypothetical that you are you've got a job offer, maybe,
Cool.
or you can just tell me what your career is. We kind of
Yeah.
work on the estimated salary range,
Okay.
and I normally do use the lower end,
Cool.
just to be conservative. So no, we won't use your real life scenario. We'd use a
Okay.
hypothetical,
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
salary, expenses,
Awesome.
kitty's age,
Okay.
etc.
Look, I'm
Yeah,
going to make it as
and
real as possible. That's really what I'm going to be
yeah,
doing. So I'll keep it
yeah,
real where it's going to be in the IT industry because that's what I'm in.
yeah,
And I will start giving more or less average salaries that are available.
yes,
Let's assume what the first job offer is. So I'll come to
yeah,
you ready with saying, okay, I've got a job offer
yeah,
because that's how it worked for me.
yeah,
If it resonates with other people that they got an offer, great. If they don't, they just know when they do get that first job offer,
yeah.
this is when it would start off and we work from there. Okay. Yeah.
That's
So
it.
I know I'll have that ready.
Um, And startup costs,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people underestimate the money that
Okay.
you're going to need
Okay.
to set up here.
Yeah.
The bond for your rental, the
Yeah.
rent up front, all that type of thing.
Okay.
I always look at the surplus money that clients might be bringing over, whether you've cashing in your pension fund, sold your house, etc.
Yeah.
Because what we do try and do is earmark that surplus money towards your house deposit here for when you get residency.
Okay.
If you can't, that's fine. Then we'll put a plan in place to
Okay.
get you deposit ready, which I know is another video that you want to do.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Because I'm in that scenario, unfortunately. We didn't have
yeah,
extra money. We've spent all the money that we've got. So now we're starting from
yeah,
scratch, trying to
yeah,
save up and work towards a home. And it's obviously a big
yeah,
fear of mine, not being able to
yeah,
buy a home. And over and above buying a home, it's being a burden on my children. I'm worried
yeah,
that we're so late in life playing catch up. What if we
yeah,
can't retire and have enough money? What, my kids are going to have to look after us now? That's a
yeah,
nightmare. Okay, so
yeah,
excited that we're going to be working through this, which will be awesome.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anything else that I need to have ready for the first meeting that we're going to be having and taking through besides my job offer and my salary?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we do touch on insurances. We do
Okay.
check. I do check if clients have a last will and testament in place before they leave
Yep.
their home
Yep.
country. Incredibly important. So those type of things we just
Okay.
touch on
Okay.
as well.
Okay. Well, it
Yeah.
gives me an idea of what we've got to be ready for, and I'll be that guinea pig. So I'm
Okay.
hoping people will
Yeah.
want to join and follow along, which is really
Yeah.
going to be cool. And hopefully you can learn from me
Yeah.
and be ready. So what I want to do now, Ivandee, is I think we've given everybody a good idea of where we're going and who you are.
Yeah.
We've got a nice understanding of what Migrant Financial Services is all about and what we're going to be doing on the next few episodes. So
Yeah.
I want to wrap up, but I want to ask you 3 quick fire questions, okay?
Sure.
But I need you to just go, I don't want it to be, you really got to give us what pops in your head so we can really see
Okay.
what it is. So I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here. So I'm going to start with the first one, okay?
Okay.
So hopefully it's not too bad. Start with the first one and say, if I ask you, what's one financial habit you wish you had learned earlier in your life? What would that one thing be?
Not trying to live like the Joneses.
Oh, geez.
Not so much here, but in South Africa, I found we were quite materialistic,
Yeah,
especially the more you earn, the more you spend, right? I
yeah,
mean, it's just human nature, and I'm probably going to be sculled because of this, but that's my personal opinion. I wish I had the New Zealand mentality. No one cares what you drive, that type of thing. I wish we had that back home. I could have saved a lot more
yeah,
money
yeah.
had I not driven those cars and
Oh,
that. I'm not talking about property, I'm talking about the other stuff.
yeah, yeah.
I wish I'd had that mentality back home
Oh,
for sure.
geez,
Yeah.
Ivandee, that I'm a culprit. I can tell you,
Yes.
I'm definitely guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Question, I know this is a side note now, it's just making me think about it.
Yeah.
You getting over that here? Are you becoming more Kiwified and not worrying so much and living with worried about what the Joneses have?
It is so refreshing not to have car debt
Yeah,
and no one kind of judging you because of what you drive
yeah,
and that type of thing. It took a while to get used to, I'm not gonna lie. It
yeah,
was really odd not driving those BMWs,
yeah,
etc. But it is really refreshing not seeing that debt come off your
yeah,
earnings
yeah.
every month. I mean, it was a big nut to pay for those cars back
Oh,
home.
okay, so
Yeah.
you're on your way to becoming a Kiwi, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Really awesome. So maybe us newbies have still
Until
got
I
to
have
learn.
until I have the black book, I don't think not yet.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
yet.
I'm working towards that too. So yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
on the same page there. Okay, next one. What's one myth about money or home loans you wish immigrants would stop believing.
Yeah, that you need debts in New Zealand to build a good credit score.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was the case back home,
Yep.
which is why we bought what we did and
Yep.
overspent what we did.
Yeah.
But here, the conduct of your check account, paying your electricity and Wi-Fi, etc., is more than enough to build a good credit score here.
Oh, wow.
I deal with mortgages every day. I can't tell you that I'm so fortunate those clients that have taken my advice before they came here, bought cars cash, if they were in a position to do so.
Yeah.
How easy those mortgage applications are for me when there's no debt.
Okay.
Banks don't like it. It's not that you can't do it, but it definitely does affect your affordability. You don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need it to buy a house.
Oh, wow. It's
No.
almost like back home, the more debt you had, the more debt you could get.
Correct, which is absurd.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've even shared a little bit on some of my other podcasts how we started buying property back home, but we were so young and we were just getting more and more debt, and it just seemed so easy to be able to do it.
Yeah.
It's so different here. So this is awesome. Really, really awesome. And I'm looking forward to working with you. Me as the guinea pig, as I said, it's probably going to be some things that are going to be I'm going to be vulnerable here and sharing things and saying, geez, how embarrassing people think. But if it helps, that's what we're going to go through. Okay, last one before we wrap up. So finish this sentence for me, Ivandee, okay? Moving to New Zealand taught me.
Resilience.
Resilience. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're resilient by nature because of what we face back home. And one of my clients responded to a comment on one of the South African groups on Facebook, and she nailed it when she said, you need to choose your hard. Living in South Africa is hard with the crime and corruption, and living in New Zealand is also hard. And like with me going back and coming back again, I would choose this hard 10 times over. Yeah.
The wise client, okay, and really wise words. I can tell you that's one of the things, and I see it often, and Ivandee, that's a tough one for me. Ever since I've started sharing a lot of my content, I get a lot of people that comment, and you're hearing from a lot of different types of immigrants from all different parts of the world and everything like that. And you've really got a good split. You've got some people that are so grateful to be here and are so happy to be here. But then you've still got those others that are really negative about being here as well. And I think that's a good reminder to some people, is really choosing your hard. Sometimes maybe you've forgotten about why you did this and why you've actually moved across. So now, Ivandee, thank you for sharing that and for letting me put you on the spot a little bit with those questions. I'm really excited, and I can't wait for us to do the next episode together and me to be that guinea pig. I really think, one, it's going to help me, and it's going to expose me in a lot of ways of, oh, geez, these are the things you've got to start working on if you genuinely want to buy a home and you don't want to be that burden on your children. So it's going to be a good thing. But at the same time, I really hope it helps a lot of other immigrants so that they can really learn from this. So I just appreciate you making the time to do this. And it's really giving back to us immigrants, helping and paying it forward. So thank you, Ivandee. Really, I appreciate it. So I think with that, I just want to thank you, number one, but also just thank everybody else for spending some time with us again. Look out for the next episode. So please go to my YouTube channel. It's at Soft Landing NZ, and subscribe and follow, and look out for the next episode. And we look forward to speaking to you then. Keep well, keep safe, chat soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett.
Cool. Thanks, Ivandee.